we're hoping to take that partnership to the next level and kind of embed some of these payment functionalities with software. So the reality is, software is where everyone needs to be right now to stay competitive.
Hey everybody, James Shepard here with another edition of the Merchant Sales Podcast. Today I'm going to try something a little different. So I think you're going to really like this episode. But what I'm basically doing is kind of bringing you behind the curtain into a strategic partnership that I'm working on right now with the team at Netevia to go after 3 verticals. So very, very niche verticals. And so we brought together Netevia as the ISO and then Stackably as the tech stack. And this is not an opportunity for a reseller. So what I'm about to present is nothing that you can go out and sell. This is not for our reseller channel at all. This is a special strategic partnership that we did, but I wanted to break it down with you and just kind of give you some insight into the way I look at these verticals. And so we're building out this tech, and then it's like, we go all in on marketing and going directly to these verticals. And so this is kind of the secret sauce behind a lot of the kind of things that I do and that Vlad Sadovsky does. And so today on the podcast, I'm going to introduce you to, of course, Ben Shirey. I think most of you know on my team is running Stackably. So he's going to talk just high level about the tech. And then Isail Flores from Netevia, he's the guy that's been working for over a decade with these particular verticals. And what happened was they had a big portfolio of these vertical solutions, still do, but their main software company kind of tried to take over the payments and steal the merchant accounts. So we came in and did a partnership together to work through this. So so I'm really excited about it. Again, very different type of episode, but I do want to bring that to you. Now, I always like to give a little disclaimer. Of course, I do own Stackably. This particular partnership is something that I'm really passionate about, probably very biased because I think it's an awesome partnership. But again, to be clear, this is not a promotion for you guys. You can't sell this right now. This is just something that we're doing to give you an idea of the kind of deals that I think are really important for our industry as we move forward. As always, this episode is sponsored by Netevia, and of course, I'm interviewing Izzy from Netevia today. But if you want to learn more about partnering with Netevia, it's really amazing. Actually, I was talking to Vlad late last night. We were talking through emailing back and forth about the banking partnership. So now with Stackably, we're going to be getting our own Stackably banking over the next 6 months or so. And so just amazing, the different services that Netevia offers. If you are willing to do some integration work and really build out your tech stack and you want to build it on top of something solid, head over to netevia.com/CC Sales Pro and check it out. With that being said, let's dive into this episode. Hey everybody, I am here today with Isail Flores, who is heading up a really cool project with Netevia that we're going to be talking about today. How are you doing today, Izzy?
I'm doing very well, James.
Awesome. I've also got Ben Shirey with me here, CEO at Stackably. So Ben, great to have you with us today as well.
Yeah, glad to be here. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking today about ISOs and ISVs. So these are 2 worlds that have not really played nice historically, and yet it's so crucial to the success of both because ISOs have, deep connections into different verticals, deep connections into distribution channels. Meanwhile, the ISVs have the software and the feature sets that are needed to go after and attack those. And so we started working on a project a while back. Obviously, Stackably, I think most of you are familiar with. If you're not, you can go to stackably.com, check out the live event that we put out there a little while ago. But Stackably is a software company that now Full Stack Payments owns. And this is a very unique software solution because we have so many different features. And so we have a lot of different ways that we could attack different verticals. And so I was, working with my friend Vlad Sadovsky over at Netevia and Izzy as well. And then we got Ben involved. And we're like, you know what? There are some specific verticals that we can go after. And so we formed a really unique partnership to do that. Of course, Netevia has investments already into Full Stack Payments and into the Stackably deal. So we kind of pooled our resources and went together and said, hey, wait a minute, what if we customize Stackably specifically for these 3 verticals that we want to go after, where Netevia has already had a lot of success, has deep connections into that. And so today we're just going to kind of break this down for the audience a little bit to talk about how ISOs and ISVs can work together. To be clear, this is not a pitch to get you to sell for us at all. In fact, this particular setup isn't even available to our resellers or anybody else. This is a unique exclusive partnership that we have in Netevia right now. But we want to give everybody kind of a little bit of a blueprint of hey, ISVs and ISOs can work together, and you can actually get out there and attack a vertical and be really successful. So to kick us off, I'm going to ask you, Ben, to just introduce yourself to the audience here on the podcast that may not know who you are, maybe talk a little about your CC storage days and then getting into Stackably. And then also, if you could just kind of paint a little bit of a picture of why this particular partnership is so interesting to us and how you're seeing this play out with Stackably and Netevia.
Sure. So, yeah, Ben Shirey. I was the CEO of CC Storage. Still currently involved in CC Storage a little bit, but kind of built that from the ground up. I was over there for about 3 years. As far as when I took over with CC Storage, it really didn't do anything, and so kind of built that all the way up to a very successful vertical solution for self storage facilities. And it handles, it's one of the top competitors in the space today. And so that was a ton of fun. And so James brought this other opportunity over to me, and we wanted to partner together on something else that would have a little bit more reach. So Stackably again has so many features. It's a very robust software, so it can move into a lot of verticals. The problem with that is, if you try to solve everyone's problems, you really don't solve anyone's. And so you can hit about 80% in software in general. If you try to solve all of somebody's problems, you're going to solve about 80%, but you're not a perfect fit for anybody unless you get very niche and very specific on the solution that you're going to build. And so Stackably has a ton of features and a ton of opportunity. However, what we're actually going to focus on now is diving deeper into these specific verticals and then creating custom solutions that work for them specifically before moving on to other verticals. And so it's going to really give you a lot of opportunity there in terms of different markets that we can approach. So starting off with the Netevia partnership, very exciting. We're going to be working into gymnastic schools, dance studios, and swim schools. And so on the surface, a lot of those things look very similar, right? A lot of the features that they're going to need are close. However, there are going to be specific things that we have to build for each vertical to really make sure we nail a solution that is perfect for them. And so that's what Stackably is currently working on. Again, we have a lot of resources behind this. It already has a lot of great resources, or a lot of great features, and so now we're going to fine tune it into those specific verticals. So a couple things that I always think about when I'm thinking about software are, what is it doing for a business, and can a business implement it? So a lot of what we're doing with Stackably also is trying to create a very smooth onboarding process. And so a business can actually implement the software, because that's where a lot of business owners get hung up. Vertical specific solutions seem like a great idea for most businesses. In practice, it's very hard to implement into the business. And so that's where a lot of our focus is going to be on, a really smooth onboarding process, and then very deep integrations into these specific verticals to make sure we're providing a good solution for their needs.
Yeah, it was interesting. This morning, Ben and I were just meeting a little bit ago, and Ben was talking to me about the 78-page screenshot walkthrough that he created for our team on the onboarding for these merchants, right? And so it's like there's just so much that goes into really giving them a great experience. And I think, obviously over time we automate those things, but I think the key is we really want to make sure that these particular verticals and all the ones that we serve, we want to make sure these clients have a really good experience. And if you don't bring all the data into the system, if you don't provide the right payments experience, if you don't give them the right integrations, they're not going to be happy. And so really
Yeah.
excited to work with you on this one, Ben, once again, as we are scaling up the next software company. So I really appreciate you jumping on today and sharing that with us.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, and the onboarding process, again, is just something that people don't really think about. You see a software and you think that has all the features that I need, but none of my data. Right.
Right.
And so that's where the work begins.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to shift gears over here to Izzy. And so, Izzy, let's talk for a minute about these verticals. So Ben alluded to a minute ago, it seems like kind of an eclectic group, right? So it's like dance studios, gymnastic studios, and then swim coaches. Why those three? What do they have in common, and why do you see these businesses as such a great opportunity?
Well, one of the things that I find about these businesses is the people are just good people. I mean, they're really caring people, and when you're talking to them, they're passionate about their business. And um, when you're in that world, everybody knows each other. So all of the gymnastic schools, all the swim schools, all of the dance schools, they all go to these competitions, and they all know each other, and they share
Mm,
information. So
yeah.
one of the things that I found is that when they have a good experience, they share that experience. And we've grown our business with them through that referral process. So one of the things that I liked about the Stackably software that we just didn't have in the past was the access to be able to make these changes and adjustments for certain verticals, like the dance schools, like the swim schools, the gymnastic schools. These are all very specific business types that are very similar in the way they do business. But
Mhm.
there's some differences in the names of some of the products and so forth.
Right.
Um, the things that they find that are very important to these clients is just ease of use. The reality is they just want to be able to get their client registered in online.
Right.
So they go onto the website, they register online, they put their card information, and for our client, the gymnastics schools and the swim schools, this makes their life simple because they don't have to worry about the payments processing. They
Right.
don't have to worry about the management of the class software. It's all pretty much automated and very simple to use. So those are some of the things that I found that made this partnership between Stackably and Netevia very, very powerful.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So when you think about these verticals, Izzy, what are the main pain points? So when you look at them and it's like when you're talking to them and you're like, hey, you need to consider our software. Why is that? What are the pain points or the issues that they run into, maybe with other competitors or maybe not using software? I don't know. What are the issues they hit?
So some of the issues happens to be with I guess the the two-part payment systems and the two-part software systems.
Hmm.
So combining them the way we're trying to do just helps them to have it all under one umbrella. Because what end up happening is if there's an issue with the payment side, then who are they calling? They got to
Right.
call the payments. And if there's a
Right.
software related issue, they're not calling me, they're calling software. So having the ability to kind of
Bring those worlds
have
together.
these worlds kind of matched together just simplifies the process.
Yeah.
Registration, very important to them. Like I don't think about these things, when I'm signing up for a class, but for the business owner to simplify that portion of it just makes all the sense in the world for them.
Right.
Having a simple registration online, being able to add their families, and I didn't think of that, but when they said, "Well, we want to be able to have a single account, and under that account have our different kids
Yep.
associated to that account, and
Right.
then
Right.
just pull from the same payment," um, that
Right.
makes
It
sense,
makes
and
sense,
and
but
that's
you don't think
yeah,
about that when you're just like
yeah. You don't
generally
think
selling
about those
payments.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
exactly. So
yeah, I love that. And I think one of the things I'm really excited about is like the Stackably Connect app as we start to get further into it. So having an actual, like, I think it's, to me, it's mind boggling to say like you're going to be a software company today and not have a native mobile app and think
yeah,
about how that's going to be. So like, we have with this Stackably partnership for these verticals, not only are we customizing this like web interface, but we also are customizing two different mobile apps. One is Stackably Admin so that the owner of the business from their phone, wherever they are, they can pull it up, they can look at invoices, they can take a payment, they can, look at, classes and which ones are filling up and all that. And then also Stackably Connect, which is for the actual customer, so they can go in and see when's the next class. I want to register for that class, or I want to update my payment method, or I want to manage my subscription, or whatever it is. I think like having all of that on those mobile app experiences, I think that also kind of further drives that experience for the business.
absolutely. And the reality is, we're in a different world right now. The ease of use and the ability to do things so quickly, it's like no other time in history. Like
Hmm.
we can literally go onto our phones and do all of that without the need to have to go into the school and manually give our card and manually have them run it and have them author. We could do that from an app now.
Right.
And it's very, very powerful. It's a very powerful tool. And I appreciate all of Stackably's insights and just being able to get that technology over to our partners in dance and our and gymnastics schools because they're not very tech savvy.
Right.
So when we make these processes simple for them, they appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit here, Izzy. So I want to talk about more of the payment side. So just kind of zooming out for a minute, so everybody kind of is on the same page. So Stackably, we have the software, we have all the features. Obviously, we're still building out, like you mentioned, some of the nuance of like the naming and some of the different things. And frankly, we're getting a lot of great feedback. So the people that we've already been doing a lot of demos, and so as we get the swim coach or the owner of the gymnastics school, they're giving us a lot of feedback. We have a huge developer team working on this project right now. And so basically any feature request that we get that makes sense, we're building it, right? So that's really exciting for us. So I think, we already have a fantastic solution that's competitive today, but we're going to continue to build that out. So I think on that side of it, for that, business that's using a solution like that, they understand it. But I do want to point that out to my audience is like, that, yes, it is really easy now to start a software company. You probably need $500,000 and you can go build a vertical specific software, but it's going to suck. So, I want to make it clear to everybody. It's like these partnerships are successful. The foundational level is very, very robust software. You have to have software that's really robust. You have to build the right feature sets and really go niche. So that's number one. But then we want to bring the worlds together, as you alluded to a minute ago. As he is like, man, we want the payments to be part of that. So let's talk payments for a minute. What are some of the things that Netevia is doing on your side? Let's talk about like banking, instant, funding, some of that. What are some of the things Netevia is doing that are unique that we're now in our partnership? We're also bringing that to these verticals as well.
Yeah, so Nativia has always been one of these underdog companies that, if you've ever spoken to Vlad, he'll tell you the story of Chase and how Chase denied him a bank account and how that upset him. So he had to go out and create his own banking service.
Right.
And that's really what Nativia is like.
Right.
So when we understood that, having an ISV and having a software and having all of these different components is now part of today's just reality.
Right.
We need to be in the software business in order to stay competitive at this point.
Right.
It's no longer the days of just, credit card machine and process, and that time is it's past already. We've moved on. So if you look at a lot of devices now, they're all software based.
Right.
And all the smart POSs. So Netevia is really focused on making that portion of processing. And if obviously with any merchant service account, you need one thing for that account to really function, and that's a bank account. So what we've done is we've combined the processing with the bank account so that we can have things like instant batches. So now we're able to say, well, you just process $5,000. Guess what? When you go to batch out, you'll have the option to deposit that $5,000 instantly into your Netevia bank account. We've had, clients that maybe are mid high risk. They need a reserve account. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We have a bank account. We can create a lockbox that shows the client exactly how much they have in their account.
Right.
And when their funds are ready to be released, our risk team releases it and it's available instantly into their account. So we've partnered with that, or we partnered them together. And now, with Stackably, we're hoping to take that partnership to the next level and kind of embed some of these payment functionalities and banking
Mm-hmm.
functionalities with softwares and
Yep.
not just Stackably, other softwares. Just the reality is software is where everyone needs to be right now to stay competitive.
Yeah, for sure. And we're excited about building out even more integrations on that side. I think Netevia Capital, another interesting one, right?
Yeah.
And so being able to provide capital to merchants. So there's a lot of things like that where when you look at modern software today and the companies we're competing with, like Square and Stripe and others, it's like if you want to go head to head with Square, there's number one, you do have to have comparable features. You have to have
Yeah.
they have the banking, they have the Square Capital, they have all that. So we want to have that for these verticals. But then also you want to compete with them. You can't just match them. You have to do better. And I really think vertical specific is how you do that, right? Because they're not building out all these very niche things for swim coaches, right? We're doing that. So you can be competitive with vertical specific, but you also do still have to have those kind of modern features they want. And a lot of that is the banking side of it that comes into it. Two other ones I want to talk about for a minute here. Three things, I guess, actually. So one is the financial model, right? So in our partnership, we decided to, at least for this initial kind of software we're putting out there, is like, let's just give it away for free. Talk about that, Izzy. Like, how are we able to do that? Because obviously our competitors are not doing that. So talk about that a little bit.
It's very simple. At the end of the day, we want our our partners to be part of the Nativia team, part of the Stackably team. And there's not a lot of options in the space of gymnastics, swim schools, and dance schools. There's just not a lot of options for class management software.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? We're going to give it to you for free. We're going to let you take the test drive, and because we believe that using it and the kind of the seeing is believing kind of approach is where we want to go. We want you to use it, and we want you to give us the honest feedback and allow us the opportunity to earn your business and continue to earn your business by using the software, by using our processes. And any time that the clients have any concern, they call me. They're like, Izzy, I don't like this, or Izzy, I need that. Done.
Yep.
No, I got you. Don't worry. We're going to take care of this together.
Right.
And that's kind of where I've been. So uh, some of these clients have been with me for over 10, 11 years.
Right.
The same clients, same business, and they don't really like change.
Yeah.
So in order to get them to change from the software they're currently using to try it, take it for a
Right.
test drive for
Right.
free. And
Well,
we're gonna keep it keep that relationship going.
yeah, I love it. And I think it's so cool because, we use the term a lot that software is eating payments, right? And so the idea of like payments is becoming a feature of software. But I think what's interesting is like from a economic perspective, payments is kind of eating software in a lot of ways. So when you look at a model like this, yeah, we're making a little bit of money on the payment processing together in our partnership. Everybody understands that there's some profit there. And what's great about this is rather than us saying, hey, let's milk that and keep charging all these software fees, we're saying no software fees. You get to use it for free as long as you're using the processing right. You get to continue, and so there's no cost for that software. There's add-ons you can buy and things, but you're going to be able to run your business with a robust software absolutely free of charge. So that's one thing that I do think is a pretty cool,
Yeah.
cool feature, cool offset there. The second one I want to talk about is dual pricing. So,
Yes.
Izzy, I know for these verticals, this is a pretty new concept, and so it may take a little
Yeah.
while for this one to catch on. Maybe you could kind of educate that market a little bit as well as kind of like, what is dual pricing? How does it work for that market? And kind of how are we looking to, educate this industry on these industries on the fact that like, hey, you don't have to pay for the processing fees.
So absolutely. So when we're talking to clients, they always have the concern, and I mean, it's back to the cash discount days when folks
Hmm.
just didn't understand it. So when
Right.
you tell them that you're not going to pay any fees, um, where are the fees going? Who's getting the fees? Obviously, the card holder is paying the fees. And as time has gone by, we all have been in the position where we notice an extra charge on our receipt, and that has to do with the dual pricing, the options. Hey, listen, if you pay with cash, you'll get this. And if you pay with credit, you'll get that. You'll get options. But the option to the merchant has never really been an option. If they wanted to do business and they wanted to accept credit card, they had to pay the price.
Right.
And that can hurt a lot of businesses. So what we're saying is we're giving you the option. If you want to try out the dual pricing option, check it out. You're going to have a difficult conversation with your team. You're going to have difficult conversations with your clients. You might even lose a few clients. But at the end of the day, your business will still recover. People will get accustomed to the dual pricing model, and life goes on. The benefit to the merchant is you're not paying for the processing, which when you're doing two, 300, $400,000 a month in processing, those are big volumes. It's a lot of
Yeah.
payment for those types of merchants, which are generally small businesses that,
Right.
that take up, a good amount of
Yeah.
income from them.
Well, I find it so fascinating, Izzy, because I think like for our audience of the salespeople and the ISOs, right? They look at this and what they may not realize is like, yeah, there are still a lot of verticals out there where this is not
Yeah.
a common accepted thing. When we got into the
No.
self storage industry with CC Storage that Ben was talking about earlier, I mean, people thought we were nuts. Like when we were
Yeah.
like, oh, we do dual pricing, and what happened is we got that beachhead. Now we get people that are huge self storage property owners, and they reach out and they're like, "Hey, tell me about this dual pricing. I'm hearing about it everywhere." And it's like, "Oh yeah, we have 1,500 clients that are on dual pricing right now." And so it's a momentum thing, and I think it's really interesting because I think for those in these verticals, it's going to be the same. They're going to jump in, they're going to try it out, they're going to realize, oh, actually, 98% of my customers could care less about this. And I'm now able to give them that choice. Now, the other thing that's really important about this, of course, is ACH, which does not get talked
Yes.
about very much. Super, super important. For one, having an ACH on file for a recurring payment, your odds of losing that payment are drastically lower than they are with a card because cards expire, ACH doesn't. So
Yes.
even with Card Updater, you want actually the ACH is fantastic. And so what you can do is you can actually, these businesses, we're giving them the opportunity to do a couple of really good things. Number one, offering ACH, which is built into Stackably. So they're going to have, if they get set up for card processing, they're getting set up for ACH processing. They have that ability. So it gives them another avenue for their clients to pay, right, with ACH. It gives them the opportunity to do that dual pricing because now they're giving them a legitimate choice. It's like, look, you can pay a little bit extra if you pay with your card, or if you want to go to ACH, we're not going to charge you for that, right? So they can give, if they want, they can give that away for free. And so that's huge, because they actually have that option. And then what they're doing is they're driving people to a form of payment that is better for them as far as their long-term revenue drivers. And so ACH is not a bad thing. So I think, being able to push them in that way while at the same time eliminating the card processing fees, this is a really, really big one. One other one I want to roll out, Izzy, just to give you, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. One of the cool things we have with Stackably as well is we're going to be using this P3H terminal, the smart terminal. And
Hmm.
I'm so interested, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, because there's so many verticals out there that are card not present. So these are verticals that generally they're like, no, I don't have a credit card machine. But I think it's interesting because I think there are those use cases where some of these, whether it's say gymnastics, like my daughter's in gymnastics. And when I go in there, every once in a while they're like, hey, just so you know, man, your payment declined because your card expired, and you got
Hmm.
to renew. And I'm like, oh, how do I do that again? And it's like, well, go back
Yeah.
and find the link I emailed you 2 years ago. It'd be
Yeah.
so nice if you had a little terminal, a little smart terminal. You just go up and click on customer, click on my name, and then click on update payment method. And I can just tap my card, right? That's what we're making available. So it's like for those who want that, and they're like, yeah, I really need a device. We have that as well if you want that physical device. So I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on that, Izzy. I know that's like outside the realm of that normal card not present world.
So it used to be very common that all of these verticals were card not present, 100% card not present.
Mm-hmm.
They just ran
Right.
everything through a gateway, and that's kind of how they did business. In today's world, everything is about merch. Everything is
Mm.
about
Yep.
so in today's world, a lot of these verticals need a card present device. And not only that, the reality is they don't want to manually touch the card anymore. They don't want the liability.
Right.
They
Right.
they want the customer to be able to tap their card and the
Yep.
terminal kind of pull their information right into the system, right into a secured vault, and they're done. They
Yep.
For their purposes, they're able to charge for leotards. They're able to charge for, swim goggles, whatever their vertical is. They're able to charge for those things right there on the spot without having to use maybe a you know a a,
Link to pay or
a
whatever.
different account, a linked account or something like
Right.
that. They
Right.
can just
Right.
go right into,
Yep.
instead of a PayPal or something like that, they can go right and use their merchant service account.
Yeah. I love it.
And then that helps with the reporting,
Absolutely,
which
because now you're
yeah.
pulling everything into one. And that's the cool thing about Stackably is you also have your store. And
Mhm.
so if let's say you have a parent of a kid that's in gymnastics, well, you can have your online store with like leotards and whatever it is that they need to get. That stuff can all be in the Stackably Connect app. So that parent, when they go in to like sign up for the class, they could also click on shop and they can be like, oh, I need to buy these shoes or whatever. I need to buy something for my child. They can just check out right there. And then again, all of that is in one database. So you can see your whole business and run both your card present, your card not present. You can see your merch, you can see your subscription. So having all that in one, seamless interface, I just think is pretty cool.
Absolutely. So my daughter's in a volleyball league right now. And the way they have it is actually really cool. So when you sign up, you have to go through the entire sign up process. You have to add your credit card information. And then on top of that, guess what? There's required uniforms. There's required
Yes.
socks.
Right. Right.
So all you do is start adding that to the same card at the checkout,
Right.
and done. It's done. Again, that goes back to what we were saying earlier, that uh ease of use and simplicity, where the gymnastics schools and the swim school, like these verticals, don't need to think about these things because Stackably just makes that simple.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's been so great talking about this. I hope that a couple of things will happen from this interview. I hope that a lot of people in the industry, the ISOs and ISVs, I hope that they'll start to think through a little bit more of like, hey, you could do these things together. You can offer free software. You gotta share payments margin, but you can do free software. You can set up really unique things. If you're looking to set up that on the payment side, obviously talk to Netevia about this because they have fantastic programs. Again, we talked about the banking, the instant funding, access to capital. Those are all hallmarks of Netevia. So for those looking to piece these partnerships together, that's fantastic. Look for niches. Look for, hey, I've got this vertical. I've got all these connections the way that Izzy has with these verticals. For those that are in these industries, that maybe you're a swim coach or you're involved in that industry or dance or gymnastics, you can take a look at dancestack.com. gymnasticsstack.com, swimstack.com. So we've created separate web presences for these different vertical specific solutions. Again, we recognize that each of them, they are a little bit different. There's a lot of similarities, but there's some differences. So we're handling each of them in that way. So I really encourage you to check that out. Izzy, thank you so much for taking time to jump in and share your insights with us today. I hope our industry will get some insight and some ideas of like, man, I could go out there and tackle a vertical as well.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me, James.
Hey, everybody. I'm here with my good friend, Rich Norton. How you doing today, Rich?
I'm doing excellent. Always great to talk with you, my friend.
Right back at you. Always enjoy these. This is our last one for our little segment here of our blue shirts that are matching, which is fantastic. We've been talking about integrated payments, point of sale. And here's what I want to ask you about today, Rich. As a sales agent, right? Your role out in the field when you run across somebody that maybe needs a larger solution, right? Talk about how do you really generate interest? How do you dig in and find the pain points and things so that whether you're trying to go one call close or you're going to kick it to the expert team for a demo, how do you really tee that person up to make sure that, hey, this is not a waste of everybody's time. This person, there's something here for them.
Absolutely. See, representatives, I think they get caught up in learning a pitch, and that's important to have the knowledge and being able to present everything. But what ends up happening is they get the pitch down and they talk and they talk and they want to make sure they're saying it right, but they forget the most important thing, and that's the interaction with the merchants. Very important.
Right.
And that's amazing how I love it that representatives, like, we have so much information on our Payrock website. I have information on our website that we have for our representatives, and they have a philosophy. It's like, man, I gotta learn everything. I'm not getting out there until I know everything. And then they know all the different products, and you know how that works, all the different programs, fully knowledgeable, but they miss the most important thing. And this is what we don't teach enough. And that's why I have such a passion for this, is we teach about selling. It's like, I know the information, but they don't know how to sell it. And it's like, wow, I got all this information down, and I went out and talked to 20 businesses and nobody even wanted to talk to me at all. Okay, well, let's work on that. And that's the important part. It's all selling ourselves. How do representatives go out there and write 10 in 1 week while others don't write any? Because they're selling themselves. So you really got to work on that first impression, getting the people to like you, getting the people to listen to you, getting the people to trust you. And how does that come? The eye contact, being genuine, being sincere, and having control. The person that's asking the questions is the one that's in control. Very important that people understand. So when you're walking into businesses, you're going in there with the mentality, I'm helping people and I want to find out what are their pain points. So get to know them, how long they've been in business, what type of solution. Tell me, let them start talking. The best salespeople are the best listeners. Let them talk. Tell me what you're using right now and how that's working for you. Tell me how you take your payments right now and what are you using, and let them show that to you. Now, if there was something, here's where you can, it's a great question to find out some pain points. If there's something that you can change or you'd like to see improve to make your life easier, I know there's probably a bunch, but what's number one and number two on your list right now? So get them talking. I've got I've got this terminal right here, but I'd like to have something where I can put my inventory in there. Or I'd like to have a point of sale, or I'd like to have something in the back where my cooks don't. I have to scream at them and tell them, "Hey, this order up is here." That's important to them. So you find that out. So yeah, in fact, and then you here's where salespeople mess up too. Well, I got the best solution ever. I'm gonna, they become the overzealous salesperson. That's where you just got to lay back and be cool. Yeah, as a matter of fact, all the people that I've been helping out, that's what I hear a lot. And here's what they love about us. I teach people to do this all the time. Here's what all the merchants that I've been helping love about us. And then you put in whatever comes after that. That's going to go a lot further than you're going to love what I got. That's a typical salesperson. So you have to be cool, you lay back, and then you let them talk and let them write themselves up. And remember, the person that's asking the questions is the person that's in control. That's not saying that they're not going to have questions, because they'll have questions. However, when they ask the question, listen to the question And whatever they say, respond positively, even if it's an objection. I'm glad you brought that up. What a great point. That's awesome that you said that. Many of the people I've been helping out have told me the same thing. And then you give a little scenario on how we help them. And then you come back with another question. And that's how you find out the person that's in control is the one that's asking the questions.
Yeah, you know, Rich, one thing I find so interesting in my experience consulting with software companies, and then also with a lot of agents and ISOs, is that I find that when software gets mixed in, somehow salespeople forget to sell. It's like they get this new idea in their head where they're like, oh, now I'm selling software. So that means all I have to do is illustrate to them that I have knowledge and show them the features. And as long as the features match up with their needs, they will just buy the software. And no, they
Yes.
won't. Most software companies that I've consulted for, if I had to describe their number one problem, it is that they don't know how to sell. Their people don't sell. And I hear them on the
Yep.
demo and I'm like, are you just waiting for this person to say no? Or are you ever going to close the, like, okay, they said that they like it 3 times. When are you going to say, great, have I earned your business? Or awesome, I'm looking forward to working with you. Let's start on some paperwork. Like, you got to do something, right? So if you
Yeah.
see that as
Yeah.
well, I feel like we just kind of
That's a
forget that
great
there's a
point.
sales
Yeah.
involved, you know?
They become a completely different person. It's
Yeah.
like and I get that. It's like you're stepping out of your comfort zone, right? You're getting
Right.
into something new, but here you are, you're closing deals left and right. Now you're moving into this part of the industry. Now you become an explainer or a professional
Right.
visitor, right? Of
I like
what
that.
you're going to be what you're going to be presenting, and it's almost, this is why the mindset is so important. It's almost like you're waiting for them to say, okay, that sounds great, we'll give you a call,
Right.
so we're putting it back in
And,
their
and then you're
control.
like, oh, good, I did my job. It's like, no,
I
you
did
did
my
not do
job.
your job. That was not your
Yeah,
job. You're
yeah.
a
I
salesperson.
I explained how the software worked. Okay, well, that's great. You're not working in some Radio Shack place. I mean, you're a salesperson. You've got
Right.
to go out there, remember what you're called to do, and everything. Whatever program, product, service, you have to remember that we're here to help the merchant and we're here to close the merchant.
Yeah.
Don't forget who you are. That's
Yes.
important.
Love it. Love it. Rich, it's always such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Before I let you go today, tell people how they can reach out to learn more about what you have going on if they're interested in learning more about your team.
Absolutely. Please reach out to me at 904-434-4635. You can text me. I got like 3 calls from all over the country while we were on a call here. So people are calling all over the country. So text me, reach out to me. I'll get back with you. Or you can email me at payrock, Payroc, Rich Norton at gmail.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rich. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So Visa and MasterCard have agreed to pay merchants nearly $200 million to settle a class action suit that was filed nearly a decade ago around the rule changes that shifted liability for chargebacks
Mm,
to those merchants that did not install EMV compliant
right.
POS devices. Um, previously banks would eat those losses. EMV was, the idea of EMV cards, and that was something that took forever too. If I remember correctly, it was like you have to have it done by 2016. Oh, make it 2017. And I think in the end, it was like 2021 before all
Yeah.
merchants really had to have it.
Yep.
But, they still, charged, alleged that Visa, MasterCard, along with Amex and Discover, violated antitrust laws by coordinating the liability shift.
Oh, that's an interesting angle. I hadn't really thought about that before, but that makes sense.
Yeah, they basically said, the 4 card companies were working in lockstep.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Discover and Amex previously settled a couple years ago, paid a combined 32.2 million to resolve the claims against them. The they all 4 credit card companies admitted to no wrongdoing. However, Visa agreed to pay 119.7 million, and Mastercard's going to pay 7.8 million into a common fund that merchants can,
Go after.
go after. There's no defined. I was reading the God, reading some of these settlement agreements, they're so tedious, and they
Yes.
cite all these other cases and everything. But they said they sent out 1 million letters to 1 million merchants and only got about 30 responses. But they believe that millions of merchants, were affected by this.
Right, right.
So,
Hmm.
it's not a done deal. The settlement still has to be approved by a judge in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of New York. But
Okay.
apparently, you know, both sides seem to be happy with the settlement agreement, and they noted, which I thought was interesting. They went through 5 mediators before they could come up with this agreement.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was
Interesting.
yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Hmm.
So, and the whole thing about the liability shift. I mean, you're right. It is an interesting angle to take, but it was in merchants' best interest
Right. I mean,
to
I
do
don't
that.
remember, with the whole liability shift, I don't remember ever feeling like Visa and MasterCard and like overplayed their hand or were heavy handed.
No,
I think they did a really good job with it. And again, as you pointed out earlier, I also feel like they were very lenient and giving people time. I remember the fuel stations, especially
the
they,
fuel stations, especially,
because
they
it was
had
very hard to update those pumps and everything.
right, and they kept. In fact, I think we even early on in our podcast we
Hmm.
interviewed a couple companies that were doing that, and
Exactly. Yep.
it was like they would have to rip out entire islands and put in new pumps just
Oh,
to
it's tens of thousands of dollars for just a small gas station to swap their pumps out for EMV compliant
my if my memory serves me, it was something like $10,000 per pump.
per pump. Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
something like that. But
Mm.
so anyway, okay. Next up, a new report from Bank of America shows that more shoppers are choosing gift cards, especially for special occasions.
Huh.
And I think here there's a economic thing at play. Prices of everything are going up, right?
Hmm.
You can't necessarily afford what you wanted to buy Johnny for Christmas,
Mm.
but maybe you can give him $100 gift card, and
Towards it.
that'll go towards it.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I see that. I mean, in my, I have to admit, most of my nieces and nephews are all grown up, so I don't. I mean, I buy gifts for their kids, and those are toys, and so it doesn't really matter,
Right. Right. Right.
But I could see that, especially for teenagers or young adults. Anyway,
Yeah.
three out of four consumers prefer purchasing gift cards over merchandise for holiday gifts.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Special occasion gifts, gift cards, gift cards for special occasions like graduation, anniversary, Christmas. Those purchases are up for both digital and physical gift cards.
Hmm. Wow. That's interesting that they're both up. You kind of almost expect the physical one to be down a little bit and then it converted over to digital. But when they're
Right.
both up, that's very interesting.
And it's very interesting. I think digital was up like 6% and physical was up by like around 4%. So they were very close.
Yeah.
They weren't like dramatically up either.
Right.
But I thought this was really interesting. 71% of consumers are prompted to buy gift cards in stores. So that kind of shows that
Mm.
the physical ones, I know I go, like, for example, I'm doing some work around the house. I have this thing. There's uh, I think you probably have it up by you, Giant Eagle. It's a chain of
Right.
grocery stores.
Mhm.
And they have a really great fuels program where, your
Yeah. You
purchases
buy your
go toward.
groceries and you get money off
Right. So
per
I
gallon.
will always go and buy, like I'm doing a project around the house, and I needed things from Home Depot. So I go into, Giant Eagle and buy Home Depot gift cards.
Right.
Gives me, I mean, I put a new bathroom in my house when I came in here, when I first moved into the log cabin, and I had enough points just from my Home Depot cards to fill up my truck,
Hmm.
which was, pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is that, especially stores like that have these huge kiosks full of gift cards for every conceivable store and
Hmm. Yeah.
restaurant, you know. Um, okay, so just some more data. One in three consumers are asking family and friends to give them gift cards instead of gifts.
Yep. Yep.
68% of consumers received gift cards for the holidays in 2024.
Hmm.
And though Generation Z, those born between the late 1990s and the early 2010s, as well as millennials, are driving digital gift card sales for holiday purchases.
Hmm.
But the message that B of A said, the message from all of its research is that it's important for merchants to offer both digital and
Physical.
physical,
Hmm.
to get the most bang for their buck.
Yeah, absolutely. Huh. That's very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by the gift card thing. I know we've had like Factor 4 on here several times, and
hmm
yeah, so it's a very interesting topic for sure.
and that's something that I think a lot of ISOs and Asians just they don't really pay attention to.
Right, right,
And it's like almost an easy. I mean, I don't know about the technology. I know it can be a hassle to convert somebody's gift card
right, right,
program over. But
hmm,
if somebody doesn't have a gift card program, for
right,
example,
right.
to put one in takes a little work, but it can make a lot of money.
Absolutely.
I have a friend, a guy I know that's opening a pizza joint, and I was thinking about you, the story you tell about the guy, the client you had who
Right.
gave out the $10 gift cards. And I was saying to him, I said,
Right.
"Hey man, you should do that. You're like literally down the street from a high school, a middle school, and an elementary school.
Right.
Think of
Do a
all the
do a
parents."
fundraiser, get $5 gift cards, and just give them to the school and let them have the kids go sell it for a fundraiser, and then you
Right?
get 500 people, 1,000 people in your community that all get a $5 gift card. Well, they're gonna come in and spend $50. So
Easily,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna um direct them to this podcast.
there you go, there you go.
Don't listen to me. Listen to my friend. He knows.
Nice.
Okay, so next up, I found this very interesting that Americans still like cash despite everything that is digital.
Hmm.
And you and I have talked about this a lot. It tends to be maybe generational. I was getting dressed this morning and I found a wad of cash in my shirt pocket. And it had gone, you clearly it was laundered, right?
Right, right,
Laundered
right.
money, quote unquote laundered money. But it
Yes,
was like, yeah, I must have stuck it there because I didn't know where to put it, right?
right. You
And it just shows you
you laundered it legally.
I laundered it legally,
Yeah.
yes, right. But it just shows you, like it happens to me all the time. I'll reach into a pocket like,
Right,
where did that money come from?
right,
But
right.
so the wealth management firm Empower did a survey. They found that close to 2 in 5 consumers, 38%, say cash feels more real than digital money.
Mm,
In practice, however, dollar bills may be fading from daily life. Just 1 in 5 say they use it only a few times a year, and 18% said they use it daily. I'm probably close to that.
right,
I don't use it daily, probably weekly would be closer to it.
right.
But again, like gift cards, I think the popularity of cash is being dictated by the economic wins.
Hmm. Yeah,
25% said that they view cash as a safety net in times of financial downturns.
of course.
I remember I've had friends who, when a nor'easter's coming through or a hurricane's coming through, they go to the bank and go to the ATM and get a bunch of cash out because they know that chances are good that the telecom's going to be down, so the credit card networks are going to be down,
Right, right.
and they'll have cash to to buy whatever they need, like
Yeah.
gas or so
Mm.
forth.
Yep.
Um, According to this survey, 25% say they view cash as a quote safety net in times of financial downturns, and
Right.
1 in 5 have increased their cash holdings over the past year due to economic uncertainty.
Mm.
So how do Americans use cash? Half of those surveyed say they use physical money for tips. I'm in that
Yeah,
category.
yeah. I still
I
do that too. Yeah, I definitely use cash for tips.
Yeah, yeah. And a third use it to get discounts for paying with cash. The
Mm.
discount for cash thing,
Yep.
which I thought
Interesting.
was interesting. Yeah.
Mm.
So finally, I said last week, I think it was last week, it might have been the week before that, I don't get a chance to do crime reporting very much, but
Right.
we have another one.
Okay.
Crypto ATMs. And in
Sure.
fact, you actually sent me an email on this a few weeks ago. And then have been reading some more data on it, and it's really crazy. I mean, ATM machines that accept cash for cryptocurrency are becoming a favorite tool with scammers,
Hmm.
according to numerous media reports as well as law enforcement. It's old. It's an old scam, really, just with a new twist. Like those romance schemes
Hmm.
or calls from loved ones that they've been arrested and they need money for an attorney or a bail
Right.
bond,
Right.
which is it's a deep fake, but
Right. Sure.
Or there's the one that I once got taken for a ride over, which was that my computer had been hacked.
Right. Exactly.
And in that case, they wanted me to go out and buy gift cards, which they would then take the numbers for
Right. Right.
and transfer it to money. But here, people are being instructed to deposit cash into Bitcoin ATMs, directing it to a specific crypto wallet. And it's not like when I did it, it was like, maybe a couple $100. Now we're talking thousands of dollars. CNN reports that one such ATM in Prescott, Arizona, was the scene of at least four such scams in a week this past summer. They
Hmm.
interviewed four women who, in the space of that time, combined lost $54,000
Hmm.
fed into the ATM bill by bill.
Wow. Good night. They were
You're
standing there for a little while.
Yeah, well, each of them. I mean, one was 25,000, one was like 9,000, and then the other was whatever the difference is,
Yeah.
18,000. I think it was something like
Right.
that.
Right.
According to the FBI, Americans lost $240 million in crypto ATM scams last year, and I would suspect that that's a
Wow.
low ball.
That is a ton of money.
That's a ton of money, but I bet you it's a lot more because you know one of the things that research I've read says is that most people are too ashamed to admit that they've been bilked. I mean, I know I was really embarrassed. I didn't tell any of my friends for probably a couple of years that I got
Right.
scammed out of a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
Uh, and also the problem, of course, is that most, if not all, of these crypto ATM scammers are offshore, so they
Right.
can't be. Um, the proliferation has alarmed authorities, obviously. In recent months, the Secret Service has even visited shops where crypto ATMs are located and are handing out paper warnings about the scams.
Mm.
And the Treasury Department issued a, a, a bulletin in August urging vigilance against these frauds.
Mm.
So
Wow. That's so interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's the scammers are always trying to find a new way,
always
so.
find, like who was it? Willie Sutton said, why do you rob? Somebody asked him why he robbed banks. That's where the money is. And now it's ATMs.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's so interesting. And that kind of goes to the strength and weakness of crypto with the anonymity and all of that. And, makes it really
Right?
hard, obviously, to track, really impossible to track these types of situations. So,
Absolutely impossible. And then the uh, the ATM owners have no reason to really
yeah,
stop
it's
it.
not hurting them at all. Right.
Not hurting them at all.
They're
They're
probably they're
actually,
probably collecting a fee to do it. So,
in fact, one of the stories I read said that they're also marking up the crypto, in addition
of
to the
course.
fee.
Right.
Why not? Because crypto's a volatile thing anyway.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So they're
Yeah.
probably making bank on that. So,
Oh,
and
I
they're
bet you
doing
they
it
are.
legally.
Yeah, really
So,
are. So,
wow. Very interesting
well,
stuff, Patty.
yeah, that's it for this week, James.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Patty. As always, always love hearing the insights and what's going on today in payments.
Sure.